It's very amusing to me that 7 o'clock on weekend, 4th of July, I go outside because I'm guided to, and it's quiet. But as soon as I step foot outside, I heard cars coming from everywhere like roaches. That's besides the point. My high self silly as fuck. But we're getting back into the story about living with other individuals. That before I get back where I left off, and that would be like part 11 of how I learned discernment. This would be part 12, right? I had a dream before we came back to South Carolina. And in one of the dreams, I was standing on the hill and a man came from nowhere trying to sweet talk me and everything. And I was like, even in the dream, like, but he proceeds to put his hand on me, and I'm like, but he rubbed down my, and I'm like, in the dream, I went the fuck off because it felt like you tried to grab my, and I didn't consent. Don't fucking touch me even in a dream. And as I was trying to tell the people why I was going off, they tell me, well, you didn't tell me he texted you. Why should I have to tell you why I'm defending myself from a grown ass male touching me inappropriately? And the dream cut off because I was really getting heated and I heard sirens and was like, they're coming for you, girl. Yeah. So I woke up from the dream still in New York and I'm like, nah, I'm not going back to South Carolina. I ain't even worried about that. I'm trying to figure out. But I'm here and we're getting back to the part where my mom was hallucinating and how I figure out what was intentionally trying to traumatize me versus creative, like, hey, I'm trying to show you something. Pay the fuck attention. Before we get into, I had another dream about my uncle, and in the dream, we were in a trailer park, and it was actually in the trailer park. Well, in the dream, it was the Evans trailer park over there by Heron Circle, I believe. My direction is like, I could point you to the building, but in that dream, my mother was in a dream. My grandmother was in a dream, and at this time, my grandmother had already passed on, but she was like hovering over us. And her youngest male child, he was in the dream too. And they was talking, and when I walked in the house, they stopped talking. And I can see my, at the time was still living, Uncle John, he was in between them. And he looked at me, but his head swelled up like a balloon, and his whole body went into the balloon and floated off the dream. And I woke up from that dream, And before I got all the way up from the dream, I could hear my grandma saying something, but I could never remember what it was. So I wake up from that dream, still in New York, and I'm looking around, and immediately I started crying because I know when I have dreams like that and people morph in front of my eyes and someone that's already passed over, I know it's about that time. And when I woke up from the dream, I told my mother about it. Not in detail, but I knew. So fast forward, I'm at my auntie's. Ooh, I'm at my auntie's house, and my mother was in a rehabilitation center, and my uncle was also in that same rehabilitation center, and he was on there for dialysis, and she was in there because we didn't have a place to live. And while she was there, before she even went to that facility, is when another facility she was at, where she got misdiagnosed, and they sent her to the hospital. She was seeing chipmunks, and I'm like, then they sent her from the hospital to the facility where my uncle was at. And while she was there, she had another episode. She said a man walked in her room, and it felt off because I was like, maybe it's still. So me and my cousin end up going there. Don't know really what happened, but it just fell off. So they took her back to the hospital. And while she was there, money from her account was being missing, and she was buying things like we were already living in somewhere. And I'm like, Mom, it make it so bad. She was knowing that mentally she was not in the mind state to really handle things like that. Her family, her son, was getting money from her while she was knowing we was saving to get into her own place so she can get out of that facility. So I went up there and got her card and really trying to figure out what is going on. So she called me one day and told me that her father never met the man a day in my life. And I heard his voice before, like twice on the phone. That he said we can come stay with him. So and I'm like, I'm getting excited because I'm like, maybe we can, but at the same time, there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, that time was like an awakening that I knew was happening. My first that I can remember awakening was like before my grandma even got sick, and I was observing unnecessary shit around. But that happened, and I tried to inbox him to confirm it before I even made any moves. He never responded. The page that it wasn't him, because I never really talked to the man. I don't know him really. So, and I'm guessing the hospital seeing that, oh, this is and they don't want to be blamed, and they're all. But anyway, finally, she went up going back to the facility that her medicine was misdiagnosed at. And I'm like, what the Creator was like, oh, just sit back. And I'm observing everything. I'm just sitting here watching, but getting triggered at the same time. So I'm looking at it. I'm crying like a motherfucker because I really can't talk to y'all. I don't trust y'all like this, so why would I? So while my mother was there, we got the news that my uncle had passed over. And was weird. When I was outside one day smoking, because I can't smoke my auntie's house, it felt like I was being watched. And you could see the trees like moving in ways it's not. I mean, the trees are sitting still. There's no wind and it's cold out, but you can see the trees move like. And for it to be as tall as the trees, I know it was like 20 foot off the ground because she was on the second level. And you probably look. And it felt like it was like staring me in my face. I got a little nervous. I just back went on the house. Found out he passed over. They had to wake at my auntie's house. And everybody was there. Even my mother. They let her come from the facility to. And I'm sitting here looking around. And they was telling stories on how everybody used to get cussed out by him. And I'm like, he never cussed me out. And I'm sitting here like, why y'all I see why you get cussed out. I see why your ass get cussed out. So my mother goes back to the facility and I'm helping clean up behind everybody. Ooh. While I was in New York, my mom got a storage facility with my cousin, and the stuff we had here was in that storage facility. And well, what we had left over. And she called me the night before we was about to move into, because we finally got a place, like for real. And she was like, y'all about to pay? And I was like, we about to move out. Why am I gonna pay for another month, and we're about to move out? She was like, okay, and hung up real fast. Like,